With just 5 days to go until Donald Trump is sworn in as the President of the United States, many global hotspots could see a shift in Washington policy. On that, we're talking to Melih Demirtas, researcher at Cappadocia University, coming to us live from Ankara. Good evening, Melih. As everyone is waiting on the announcement out of Qatar of a deal being made between Israel and Hamas, the negotiations saw both the outgoing and the incoming U.S. administration's officials included. One of the many questions surrounding the deal is, will it be reached before Donald Trump takes office? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, thank you. It is expected. We all know that this humanitarian disaster is so huge. For the last 1 year, we saw that the credibility of Israel, I think, but all the Western world is also in question, and many international experts are thinking that how can a ceasefire and how can an agreement be reached for the sake of every side, each side, and Mr. Trump actually also demanded this ceasefire for longer terms. Just think about the election campaign before the elections. He already said that he will find some solutions to some deep crisis, not only the Palestinian and Israel issue, but the Ukrainian crisis, even the Asian and the other Middle Eastern situations. We can see that before Donald Trump, yes, maybe the actors thought that they can make a faster, or maybe they can make a rapid process about having some diplomatic attitude. And we are not surprised. From this, I think, Turkish side, we can say that these Israeli officials also wanted to do this somehow, because after the faults, I think, and after this heavy military responses to the civilian population in Palestine, also in Lebanon, I think Israel must do something. From the side of Hamas, I think the problem is also deep, because all the higher level representatives of Hamas, also from the side of Iran, as we all know, also Lebanon, all these actors were affected from this crisis. And as we can see, before maybe the inauguration of Donald Trump, as you said, maybe something will change. But I think that also the news can change so rapidly in the geography of Middle East, because we saw already that such news came one night, but in the morning the situation changed. We hope so. But still, Mr. Trump's effect is so obvious. That's true.
The situation in the Middle East is fluctuating quickly. That is true. Staying in the region, what do you expect from Trump when it comes to Syria? We saw him that during Assad's final days in power, Trump wrote on his Truth Social, quote, "This is not our fight."
Yes, Mr. Trump's right. I think this foreign experts and diplomats always seeing this from the perspective of domestic politics now. I think the international area is preparing itself now for much more the division between international politics and domestic politics. We already see that after the end of the Cold War, the situations changed with the understanding of globalization. I think as a global actor, United States saw itself maybe as a night watcher, we can say, as a big brother, or what you can say in international politics, of this crisis atmosphere. In many countries, we saw the shadow of United States. Different presidents had different attitudes, we all know that. But I think among all these presidents, maybe the most honest one or the most open one is Mr. Trump. Now he is saying this so openly, maybe for somehow the experts warning that he's not diplomatic. Yes, we can say that. Diplomacy is sometimes like equalizing things with some hidden agendas, or equalizing things with some shadowy acts. But I think Mr. Trump's tactic is not this. Mr. Trump's diplomacy is much more open-minded, much more so, not non-secrecy, we can say that. And he will understand that this domestic politics is like trade diplomacy, because of he wants to have some profits from all the regions, from Middle East till the Asia, from Chinese relations to Russian relations. He also maybe plays his cards so open, and he understands that the United States must first of all confess maybe the past failures. United States, we must accept that, have some failures in some geographies, also in the Middle East, also in Afghanistan, in some other regions. And now, before maybe taking the power, Mr. Trump says this openly. Yes, he wants to makes this division between domestic and international politics so deep, and he wants to give the first maybe priority to his domestic credibility, and of course it will affect this international credibility in his own eyes, I think.
Well, the outgoing U.S. administration has done and tried to do a lot in its final push. We've seen Biden's pardons, limits to AI chips exports, a surge in military aid to Ukraine, most recently an attempt to relieve sanctions on Cuba. How many of such quote-unquote last-minute decisions do you expect to see before Biden leaves office, and how many of those do you believe that Trump will reverse day one?
Well, I think we will see much more maybe openings because everyone wants maybe some radical attitude from Trump. But in democratic rules, we know that these governments, I think not only in the United States, but in other governments, I mean in other parts of the world, in their last months, they make such maybe fast moves, fast movements. In the United States system, it's also so different because an election made and then we wait like 2 months, 3 months before taking the power. So it is maybe strange to other countries' systems, but still, yes, the Democratic Party and Joe Biden's administration made their best. They're giving also some prizes to some important names. We all see that. But I think Mr. Trump will continue somehow these openings to the other regions because we expect that this radical maybe declarations of Mr. Trump is symbolizing his maybe some election campaign maybe promises, but still in international political area, he will also make these openings and he will continue these openings starting from maybe the Middle Eastern crisis and starting from this maybe in his near environment, also in Cuba, also maybe in Iran, also maybe in Asian and Middle Eastern affairs. We will see these openings, I think, in his coming term.
Well, now that you mention Asia, in the east of the continent, North Korea is warming up for Trump's new term with 2 missile launches in the span of a month. We remember Trump meeting Kim Jong-un during his first term in Hanoi. Do you think Pyongyang welcomes his second term, and what could Trump's return bring to the broader region?
I think yes, North Korea is a very different area for Mr. Trump's maybe first term of presidency because everyone's shocked in one morning, in one night, when he see, I mean, like dancing on the same floor with Mr. Trump and Mr. Kim. I mean, they are having the same stage. They are shocked because all the international area is now used to be seeing this South Korea, North Korea division as the deepest division of the Cold War area. But Mr. Trump proved us that this division can somehow diplomatically solved in also one night, in 1 week, in very small, term of diplomacy. And now I think North Korea can give a chance to the second term presidency of Mr. Trump because I think the first maybe declarations from North Korean presidency also came like in a positive atmosphere. Yes, the missiles are the reality of the region, both in North Korean side, also in Chinese atmosphere, I think in the Asian, South Asian tensive region. But still, I think Mr. Trump's and North Korean presidency's positive relation will continue, at least in the first terms of Mr. Trump.
Well, staying in the broader region, what do you expect of Trump's behavior and attitude toward Beijing? We've heard him during the campaign trail saying he's going to impose blanket tariffs and so on. But how do you think he will act towards, let's say, Taipei in the context of the One China policy?
Yes, the One China policy and Taipei issue, and also the domestic politics. I mean, as we respond in our first question, domestic politics priority for Mr. Trump's understandings. They are all, intersect in some point because I think the Chinese domestic area and Chinese domestic politics always giving the first, priority to this Taipei issue and One China policy, of course. And Mr. Trump can somehow maybe equalize these hesitations between different actors We know that Democratic Party can be so brave. Please remember Miss Nancy Pelosi's again one-night visit to Taipei and a very tensive atmosphere between Chinese and United States relations. I think Mr. Trump can be much more maybe careful about such domestic politics and diplomatic cleavages, because he will also understand that China is a real force at that time. Also for trade relations, also as you remember, Mr. Musk's, I mean Elon Musk is we accept or not, is an important force, important behind force. I mean in Trump's cabinet, and now he also see that this technologic endeavors, this economic endeavors, all depending with good terms and positive terms with China in the coming terms. So we will see that maybe Mr. Trump can have like a balanced attitude between Chinese and other actors in South Asia and also in the Eastern Asia.
Melih, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your insights and opinions.